I'd like to tell you a story. There's a book called Escape to White Otter Castle, written by a rather well-known children's author here in northwestern Ontario, Elizabeth Cooey. She was out to the castle when she was 80 years old. And she slept in a tent, and she was rained out. But she told me that she felt Jimmy's presence, and she put that in the book. Like I said, a number of people have told me they felt Jimmy's presence there.
Well, I'm not a believer in ghosts and goblins by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a the grave is there. It's not everywhere that you end up with a grave in your backyard, so to speak. The castle is it's a big structure, and in the evening, with the woods all around you, you can bet it. You're sitting there on one of those floors, and you kind of get a feeling of there's something here. And I think it's just the combination of where it is. I mean, if that building was sitting there on Main Street in Atikokan, I'm sure you could go up to the third floor and sit on it and you wouldn't feel anything. So it's kind of location as well. That feeling is well represented in that limited edition print of Edwin Matthews, where if you look really closely in the trees on the left-hand side of the castle, you can actually see his face there.
Since Jimmy's death over 80 years ago, there have been thousands of visitors to the castle. Whether real or imagined, many of those visitors have felt that they were not alone.
I have that feeling too. There have been many enemies of the castle, not necessarily human. One of them is lightning, one of them is wind, one of them is weather. It's amazing to me that the castle has never been touched by fire. Some visitors have actually, in rainstorms, lit fires inside the castle. There have been forest fires all around. The castle was the tallest thing in the area. It should have been hit by lightning, you would think. A lot of trees have been killed that way. There have been a number of forest fires in the area, but none have raged through that particular spot. None of these seem to have touched the castle. It's very hard not to believe that there wasn't some supernatural intervention.
Dennis Fredrickson, founder of Soft Wilderness Tours and a member of the Friends of White Otter Castle, has been a major player in the salvation of the castle.
So you have those. It's really not a castle. It has. He lived in Emo when he immigrated when he left La Chute, Quebec, and he got on the CNR and farmed out a homestead in Emo. And he built several big barns. They're hip-proof barn. And for the most part, those barns don't have floors in them or anything else. They're just for storing hay and horses and that kind of stuff. If you take the tower away from the castle, it's a barn. It just happens to have lots of windows and floors in it. I don't think there is anybody, truly, that feels the same in the daylight as they do in the dark. Now, I would say to you, I'm not afraid of the dark. But I'll tell you, if I end up out hunting somewhere and end up being stuck overnight, it's not the same feeling. There's this sense of loneliness, wilderness, and whether it comes out of the childhood boogeyman stories or whether it is, in fact, the fear of a timber wolf coming out of the woods at you, there's just that feeling inside man, period, that if you put him in that kind of a situation, he feels that there's something around him.
Historian Elanor Barr has been researching the castle most of her life. Several of the mysteries surrounding Jimmy McEwitt are revealed in her book, White Otter Castle.
It wasn't until I was in my teens that I discovered that my dad had buried Jimmy after he had been drowned in the lake. Why did Jimmy pick White Otter Lake? Well, as you know, Jimmy was pretty familiar with the area. After he finished farming in the Emo area, he decided to go prospecting throughout northwestern Ontario. Mine Centre was really going at that time, which is on the Seine River, which flows out of White Otter Lake. It's very possible that during his prospecting that he came to White Otter Lake, just rounded that point that hangs down, and saw this beautiful pebble beach, and said, "This place is for me." He had a very good location on the Rainy River where his farm was. He was right on a curve of the river, and he placed his house in such a way that he could look downstream and upstream. He wanted to know what was coming in his direction, and he placed his castle in the very same fashion on White Otter Lake.
Is there more to the castle than meets the eye? Do some people really feel a presence? These types of questions seem to be the kind that are still lingering. The answers are unfortunately buried along with Jimmy.
Like, I don't have those kind of feelings that like a ghost is haunting the castle by any means. I haven't heard of anybody else that has said that. But there is a sense of awe and wonder and wilderness about it that makes you feel a little bit different.
Like I said, a number of people have told me they felt Jimmy's presence there.